Okay.
Hey guys, and welcome to Tnashi's Movie Corner. And for today's movie review, I'm going to be reviewing, well, I say mostly not me, but there will be a review of a movie, a little movie. You may have heard of it, you may not have, probably not. I don't think anyone saw it. Ooh, yeah, I'm pretty sure, didn't it just come out last week? Conscience? Did it come out last week?
Yes, it did.
Oh, Conscience, thank you. And so, okay, wow, I didn't know I could pull that. Yeah, so it hasn't been out very long. It's no longer it was never in the top 5. It's a movie called Ratchet and Clank, and there's actually a new video game that's out to coincide with the movie. I don't know much about the game series. I've never played them. I've seen them from time to time, so I know a little bit about it. So, giving my thoughts on this film, do you have to play the games to appreciate it? No, probably not. I think there's a lot more appreciation, or at least there could be more appreciation if you have played the games. But there was some references that even I caught on to. But then again, I've seen little tidbits, so I knew when I saw something, I was like, that's a little funny. There's quite a number of jokes that are a little under my pay grade. No, there's some jokes that didn't work for me. The villain, it's like their motivation. I'm like, oh, okay, it's just kind of there. The beginning is a lot of cutting back and forth, up and down, side to side. Which way? I don't know. Flip around. And that's what she said. And, no, wrong. Okay, back on track. Focus. Yes. Use the Force, Luke.
Oh, not this again.
Okay. My bad. Anyway, Conscience, hush. You get your turn. Jeez. Some portions of my brain. Anyway, going back into this film, it was okay. I think the voice acting was actually pretty good. I was actually impressed by the voice acting. And there were some names in here that I was like, oh, hey, I recognize that. I think Steve Buscemi was in it, and I was like, oh, cool. And John Goodman was in it, and that was cool too, even though he had a minor role. So I didn't know anything about that going in. And I think the animation was okay. I think the animation was all right, and there were some good action moments of it. But yeah, it's just not something that I'm too familiar with. So giving it a rating 1 through 10, I'm going to give it a 5. It's a 5. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just kind of there. I forgot most of it already, which is why this is going to be short. No. But it is for me, like, it didn't have enough going for it. But then again, I'm not a fan of the game. So I'm going to let someone who is a fan of the games take over and give you his thoughts on it. No, it's not my Conscience. It is Brad. Hey, say hi, Brad.
Hey, everyone.
I was just kidding. Don't say hi.
What?
You're supposed to just go straight into the review. So go ahead and tell everyone why you absolutely loved this movie to death, right?
Not quite.
He's lying. No? Okay. Go ahead and tell everyone what you thought.
All right. I guess I'll go straight to the point.
Of course you will.
If you liked the games,
yeah,
and you're hoping for something that will quite measure up to what the games were, this was not it.
Uh-oh.
And I will say that and what this movie does is this movie incorporates things from 2 different games and kind of meshes them into one. And so if you're an avid fan of Ratchet and Clank and you've been playing them since the very first game, like what I did, there's a lot of stuff in here that you'll kind of remember and you'll get that feeling of from those games. Like there are little appearances, there are like small little references and stuff like that, and then of course some of the overarching things actually carry little tidbits of what was in those two games. I think part of what was a problem with this one though is that there is, because it's incorporating two very different things, it doesn't spend quite as much time on either one of them, and they're just kind of hashed in together because each of these villains actually had like well, they had more to them in their respective games, and in this one there are two people competing over the same thing almost, and it kind of has that little shift that goes around. So there is that, but I'll agree with you.
Too much.
I'll agree with you. There are some of these jokes that I actually found were funny, and then some of them which were a little bit less funny. And this movie has been compared to another one of a similar genre and stuff like that. I don't fully get this because this is more similar to its original game than it is about. Yes, our failed reference to another movie here.
What are you talking about? I was just doing that just cause.
Just cause you felt like it.
Just cause I felt like it. By the way, I enjoyed Ratchet and Clank as characters.
I did too. I felt like they were pretty enjoyable as characters. I do wish that their friendship aspect had been a little bit stronger in this movie.
Ratchet is it a Lombax or a Wombax or?
He's a Lombax.
Lombax? Oh, I was right the first time. Hey!
And I did find it somewhat humorous that they were reference the fact that he's a Lombax, and it's like,
oh,
what even is that?
What is that?
Nobody knows what a Lombax is.
Right, and there's a reason for that, but yeah. Yeah, so that worked.
But if you are a real fan of those games, I think there is more that you'll get out of this, because it's like, well, even though it's been shortened, that there are little bits of it here and there, you do get that sense. It's like, yes, I do remember that from the game storylines, and that is a cool thing to have. And even without those things, I think this is an all right kind of adventure movie. It is somewhat basic in how it approaches things, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, So I think overall, if you're just watching this movie, I think you'll enjoy it fairly enough. So I think for the person that's not real familiar with them, you'll probably find this as being like about a 6. And if you're a fan of the games, you'll probably get a little bit more out of it, so probably like a 6.5.
Okay, well. Fair enough. I do feel like there wasn't enough world building and character building for introducing people, right? If you know these characters, then you're kind of, okay, I see how this is going to go, right? But if you don't know them at the beginning, they just kind of throw them there, and they don't really give you a lot for them. Whereas I think a lot of like Miyazaki, Disney films, some DreamWorks films even, they give you enough time with the characters so that you appreciate the characters. Because, for example, 2 of the characters in here, I totally forget about this movie. 2 of the characters that are part of the Space Force, Space Rangers.
Yes.
Right? Okay, Space Rangers. They're basically the same character. One's a guy, one's a girl, and they're 2 side characters that don't really have much time, but they really have one thing on their mind, and you don't get to know them at all. And then there's a science-y space character that's just kind of there again. I mean, you get a little bit, but you don't get that much. So I feel like these characters should have been fleshed out.
This might seem a little bit against what we should be advocating, but I actually think it actually probably would have worked better if they incorporated the original characters that were like recruited into the Rangers and in the video games, because they have a little bit more personality to them.
Fair enough.
And so if you had them, you would have actually gotten things. I think you probably would have upped the humor on that too.
Fair enough. Yeah, I just, there's a lot of movies that I think did it better. So this isn't a game that's going to convince you that video game films are good. Even though I enjoy Resident Evil, I've said that from the start. But this isn't the one that's going to sell everybody on them being good.
No, I feel like this movie is just going to be it's just too average.
Yeah.
To really
But anyway, so that's what I thought about it. That's what he thought about it. Say bye, Brad.
Until next time, everyone.
Okay, that's not what I told you to say. But hopefully you enjoyed this vid. Click that like button, share, subscribe. Watch this vid. Even though you've already gotten to this point, you watch it again. Okay? Because you will forget about this movie. You will forget about this review. And you need to watch it again. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, hopefully you enjoy. Click that like button, share, subscribe to my channel. Watch my other vids. I do appreciate it. And until next time, the Force will be with you. Always.